my name is Heather and I'm going to be your instructor for puppy class starting next week. And I wanted to show you a few things before class gets started. First class will be with puppies that are very excited to be in a new place with other puppies around. And it'll be hard to take in some of that information with all that going on. So I wanted to talk to you guys via video to show you some of the things that I'm going to be teaching in class. The first thing is going to be about treats. I want you guys to bring small treats. There's many training treats at stores. Puppies really like these. A lot of dogs like the Charlie Bears, and they're dry and they're small. As you can see, they're about pea-sized or so, maybe even smaller. You could even cut these in half for even smaller puppies. And have a lot of these on hand. If you have a pouch like this, it's extremely helpful because you can reach in for treats very easily. Or if you wear a sweatshirt with big pockets that you can get into. Trying to get treats out of a jeans pocket is really difficult to do. So try and have something that you can carry your treats in easily. So you will bring those to class. The other thing I want you to bring to class is a Kong or some other similar toy that can be stuffed with food. You can take some of their regular food, soften it with water, put some treats in it, little bits of peanut butter, yogurt, cottage cheese, anything can go in this, because when you get to class, the first thing you're going to do is come in, find a spot to sit with your puppy, and get them focused on something like this. And the reason we do that is so that they'll be calm, they have something to be doing, other than every time a next puppy comes in the class, we're barking and lunging at the end of the leash. They've got something to focus on, and they'll learn to be quiet in new spaces with something like this. And then later on, once they're really good at getting these cleaned out, we'll start freezing them so that it'll take them longer to get all the food out of them and keep them focused on something else longer. So those are the things to bring to class, plus a leash. No choke collars or choke collars or those chain collars or prong collars, which you probably won't have with puppies anyway, but just a flat buckle collar and a 6-foot leash that's just plain, no extendable, extractable leashes, just the plain ones. So that's a cat scratching my chair. All right. I should warn you, I have no editing skills, and this is the video that you are going to get. So the second thing I want to show you is the clicker. We're going to be using these to train our puppies. And it's just a little device that makes a little bit of noise. And the reason we're going to use this is that it will help us to teach the dogs the behaviors a little bit faster and more clearly and concise than we would otherwise. And I have my dog here, Jill, to help me demonstrate. The first step with the clicker is teaching the puppy what the clicker means. And it's just going to be basically click and then move to give the treat. And you might want to have a few in your hand at once, and then you don't have to keep digging into your pocket every single time. So it's going to be click and then hand her the treat. Come here, Jill. So you're trying to get her in the camera so you can see her. So when you click, you want your body to be pretty much neutral, like I am, just standing here like this, so that the dog can focus on just this sound and not all the different body movements. You don't want to be like this every time you click. You don't want to be clicking and treating at the same time. You want it to just be click and then treat. And we're doing this so that the dog is learning what the click means. The click means a treat is following every single time. And it's not dependent on the dog's behavior. This is just learning by association. The dog likes treats naturally, and when you pair something like a clicker with treats, now that will have meaning. It's the same thing as if, you know, your dog starts to get excited every time they hear the keys jingle or they see the leash, because that object that they're not born having any meaning attached to now has meaning, either fun, food, attention with their person, from their person. And so that's how we get them to have that connection with this, just this little noise and the object. So once you do this with a few times with your puppy, you will start to notice that even if they're not looking at you when you click, they will start reacting to the sound. And then once they start doing that, you'll know that they are understanding, oh, that clicker sound means food is coming. So if your puppy's looking the other direction and they turn when they hear the click, that means they've got it. And you don't have to ever do that step again. The rule is, though, that once you click, you can never not give a treat. So even if you click by accident, oh, I owe her a treat, because I don't want the dog to ever question that the click means the treat. The second step is using the clicker to mark the behavior. So now we're switching from the dog just learning something by association. We're teaching the dog that their behavior is going to cause something to happen. They can use their behavior to get a consequence that they like. And we use the clicker to mark it because it's more precise. So typically, if I want to teach a puppy to sit, I would lure her, put the treat up in my hand, and maybe even, come here, and push their butt down like that to get them into the sit position, and then give them a treat. We call that lure training, and that actually works decently. We've been using it for many, many years to teach dogs things. And we'll still be using some of those types of things in class. But the clicker training is a little bit different. And the clicker training is letting the dog figure out what behavior works, because dogs only do what gets them what they want. They don't really think a whole lot about things. If behavior gets them food, attention, or access to some resource that they want, whether it's toys or a space or to get outdoors, they will do whatever works to get them to do that. So we're going to let them figure out in a natural way. This is how dogs learn in nature. On their own, we're not actively training them. This is how they're learning. Their behavior results in a consequence. And the timing of that consequence is extremely critical, and that's why we're using the clicker. It marks the moment the behavior happens so the dog really knows why they're getting that treat. Eventually with lure training, they're going to figure out they're getting the treat because they're sitting. But with the clicker training, they're going to figure it out for themselves first, and the treat comes after. Not begging them or trying to show them with the treat by luring, letting them do the behavior first, and the treat comes after. So if you do the clicker training right and you fade out the clicker and the treats, you should have a dog that does the behavior with relative reliability all the time without having to have a treat. So if my dog won't do any behavior I've asked her to do unless she already sees I have a treat in my hand or knows it's in my pocket, then I haven't faded out the clicker and the treats correctly, and I haven't really trained the behavior. I've just made them food dependent. So we'll be going over some more of that in class. But what I want you to see is how the clicker training works. And now Jill is almost 7 years old, and she's been doing clicker training since she was 8 weeks old. So she's an old hat at this. But I wanted to show her, because I can actually keep her in the videos of the puppy. Will be a second video that I'll have you watch. I have an 8-week-old puppy, and she kind of wanders, and it's a little bit harder to make a more precise video. So anyway, this is what it's going to look like. Come here. So get your dog up and moving. And the moment they do the behavior you want, which in this case is the lying down, I'm going to click, and I'm going to toss the treat. And I'm tossing the treat so that she has a chance to get up and do the behavior again. And again, it won't go this fast or quickly with your new puppy. And you'll see this, same process will happen with your puppy. And you'll see this in the video I've made of my little puppy. They're offering the behavior. Notice I'm not helping her out. I'm not luring her with food. I'm not manhandling her. I'm not getting into her space. I'm not trying to get down and go like this to get her to lie down. I'm just letting her figure out naturally. Her behavior makes me click and give her a treat. She will figure out what behavior works to make that happen. That click was a little bit late. You want to click while they're in a movement of the behavior. Once your dog is readily coming back to you after eating her treat and doing the behavior immediately, that's the moment that you can start naming the behavior with a cue. A cue is just another word for a command. So, and once your dog becomes really clicker savvy and they realize this is fun, they will start offering you all kinds of behaviors. That's her sleepy time behavior. So, because she thinks training is fun and it's interactive and the dog really enjoys it. And this is just a part of raising a puppy and creating a really happy and trusting relationship between you and your dog. So that's about, I think, all you need to know for the first class. Like I said, I'll have you watch a second video of me training a brand new puppy so you can see a more realistic view of what it looks like and not just Jill here who knows what she's doing. So thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in class.